Hey, gun line, gun line, gun line. We got a fire mission coming down for y'all. I'm your host, Lopez, and you're listening to the On the Gun Line podcast, episode number 234, maybe, or two. I think it's 234.
Nice.
Yeah, as you can see here with me today, I got my co-host Monica. The other co-host today, Lee Hunt, was unable to make it due to some unexpected, I guess, urgent matters that needed to be taken care of. So we appreciate you, Lee Hunt. I know we'll catch you on the flip side. You've been one of the co-hosts that I've had. Shit, I think you've made more appearances than anybody other than me. So definitely hope everything is well on your end, brother. With that said, hello, Monica. How are you today?
Hello. Pretty good. Good day, actually. Not too bad.
Word?
Not too shabby. It's just been a good, energetic day. Work wasn't too crazy. It was pretty good.
That's what's up. That's what's up. I had a very interesting day.
Tell me about it.
Let me tell you. First of all, so I had, all right, you know what? Full disclosure, y'all. For those of you guys that have been following or listening to this for a while, you know that I had an alcohol problem many years ago, which led me to catching a case. Okay. Long story short, DWI, felony type, and I'm on 5 years of probation. So that was my sentencing in February 2020. All right. I was sentenced to 5 years of probation, 200 community service hours, all the good stuff that comes with it, you know. So this case, okay, so this incident happened August 19th, 2018. All right. So with that being said, part of the agreement for me to get out of jail on bond when I first got busted was to put an interlock system on my vehicle. So the interlock system, for those that don't know, is a, how do I sound, by the way?
You
Am I
sound
sounding
good.
okay?
Yeah,
You
yeah, you
sure?
sound fine.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
I can hear
So
you.
I'm sorry, my audio's coming in really weird. I think I don't know. Anyways, can you hear me? Test, test, test.
I can
Okay.
hear you.
So the interlock system, what it is basically I got to give a blow job to my truck for her to start. All right. So I go in there and I blow, and then she says, "Hey, you're sober. You don't have any alcohol in your system. You can go ahead and turn the key." Now, this shit is so sensitive, Monica. This shit twice locked out on me because,
What?
yeah, Listerine.
No.
Listerine.
Well, first of all, having an 11-year dental career, let me tell you, you should get the alcohol free anyway, because that alcohol just jacks up your gums to begin with. And use an extra soft, if not soft toothbrush, no harder than that. But
The
anyway.
bristles. Mm-hmm. And as a former dental assistant with 5 years experience in it, I concur.
Yes, no
You want to
alcohol
use,
mouthwash.
yes. And, you want to avoid having periodontal disease or, because it starts with gingivitis. But
Oof,
anyways,
oof.
so no, what ended up happening was because I used to have the Listerine with alcohol in it. And
Mhm.
so we replaced it with the non-alcohol so I could, use it because I like Listerine. I've always liked Listerine. My dad,
Yeah.
I grew up with Listerine, the yellow piss bottle looking one that
Oh,
really burned.
oof. Yeah.
Yeah. But so with that said, I violated twice because of that, because I forgot that I was taking, anyways, I took the wrong
That's
Listerine,
crazy.
but that's nor here nor there, right? So I just wanted to give the 2018 because I've had this thing on my car since 2018, September of 2018. All
Dang.
right. Fast forward to 2020, I take the plea bargain, and part of it is the interlock, obviously, for 5 years of probation. So you would think that, hey, maybe they could prorate the time that I already had onto it.
Yeah, they do that with regular jail and stuff like that, don't they?
Well,
What
they
about good
not
behavior?
with this one. Not with this one. Actually, the way they look at it, it starts the day that you get sentenced. So my 5 year sentence started in February 2020, which means I have to have it till 2025.
Oh
However,
my gosh.
however,
Mm-hmm.
comma, there is an opportunity for me to go in the middle of probation and have a judge modify my probation to remove the interlock system.
Gotcha. That's
So,
coming up soon then, right?
oh, that's where I was at today.
Oh, that's what today. Oh,
That's where I was
gotcha.
at
How'd
today.
that go?
Oh, well, I mean, I sent you some pictures. And as you can see, there was a lot of people standing around. I'll tell you one thing about court. It does not move as fast as they show on TV. All right. It does not move that fast. And
I was like, at
never
least they're having fun there. God.
for real. But I'll tell you what, never have I ever been in a room with so many people that didn't have lips. Like
What?
they literally are no lip people. Like I've never seen people that don't have lips, yo. And I've never been in a room with so many people that don't have like lips. We got lips, you know
That,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
These people
that's that's interesting.
specifically, like they look like this. Like, how do they, dude? It's gross.
I wonder if that happens over time with such a stressful job. You know what I mean? Even though they
Where
didn't
they're
seem like
just
they
like
were
this.
doing too much, like because people even say it's like, oh, don't frown all the time because then you'll get wrinkles. You know what I mean? So I
Mm.
wonder if that has to do with it because I can see how stressful it could be, but
I guess, but I mean that means that white people are very stressed all the time
I
because
mean they do
majority of
age
them are
worse than
white.
anybody else.
I'm just saying the only other chick there was another Latina there with me, and she had full lips just like I did. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, gotcha.
So
I mean
I don't know, man. It's
they're the worst
either.
aging ones, I think.
So let me tell you. So I go there, right, and they call my name up. Finally, I get my name called up, and the judge is like, okay, so tell me about this. So um, well, he asked the prosecutor, are you guys opposed or what's your stance? And they were like, oh, we're opposed. First of all, this guy has never met me ever in his life. He's just going based off the case itself. And I saw him like scrolling through his computer looking up my stuff. And so he
Mhm.
brings up some prior history on me from 1997. All right.
Oh my
So he's like,
gosh.
"Oh, it seems like you've had a you like to cause trouble, huh? I see you got in trouble in '97." I was like, "Oh yeah." Oh no, he's like, "Yeah." Oh no, what did he say? You got in trouble for robbery, and I was like, "That was in 1997," and also that was expunged. And he's like, "Well, what about this terrorist threat in '99?" And I was like, "Okay, that was a detainment, and nothing was charged with no charges filed." So he kept trying to, paint me in this light. So then I came up and I was like, "Do you happen to have in there that I also served in the military for 10 years honorably, and I was medically retired from the army?" And he didn't have shit for that afterwards.
Of course he didn't.
Of course not.
What a prick.
Oh yeah, he
I'm
was a straight
sorry,
up
but what a
douchebag.
jackass.
And so
Let's
he's
take a
like,
look at your record that doesn't get actually exposed, that you've had swept under the rug. I guarantee you have something under your rug, sir.
mm-hmm. And I get it. I did the crime. I do the time. You know, but he tried to like, oh, he's only had it for 2.5 years, and I said, no, I've had it
That's
for over.
half of your.
I told him I've had it for 4 years since 2018, but they only give me credit for 2 years because it's
Two
happened. But I'm
years.
like, no, I've had it for 4 years and never have I violated. Except for those two accidental ones with the ¿cómo se llama?
Mouthwash.
With the
Yeah.
mouthwash, right?
Yeah.
Well, all of this to tell you that the judge that was sitting was a visiting judge, so he kicked it on down to the next judge and said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and just pass it on to your original judge and let him decide on this. I don't want to be the one that decides on this, but I'm opposed to it too. And I was like, oh fuck me running. Well, you got to think about it. They get paid for this because i
True.
i
Just like
pay
the
$100
doctors.
a month a month.
Mm.
Now think about it.
Dang, to have that thing.
I've been paying $100 a month since September of
Oh my gosh.
2018.
Dude,
We're
that's
in October. Mhm.
crazy. They don't want to lose that money.
Of course not. They know they got a for sure thing here, dude.
Well, I mean, there's hope because he's kicking it down to your regular, and I'm sure your regular judge will see the hard work that you've put in. So, I mean,
Well,
that's some good hope there.
that's the funny part. Like they called my PO, and my PO's like he has no idea about me because I'm clean. I'm in a different county, so I meet my PO here in Bear County every month, I go take my piss test. I'm always clean. I have no issues. I paid my fines. I've done my community service. So,
Yeah.
aside from, yeah, the fuck up that I made, and I take full responsibility for, um, I think that they could have taken a little bit of leniency on it. You know what I mean? But you know
Yeah.
what?
I mean, there's so many other things that maybe you should concentrate on and like really judging correctly versus I'm not saying this is a minor thing, but
Right.
compared to some other crimes out there that I'm sure are happening, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
Right.
Come on.
I mean, I think it's also I talked about this on a lot of earlier podcasts when I mean when I was still barely getting in like into this, and so maybe it's something to revisit, I guess. But there's definitely an alcohol problem with our veterans. With veterans that are getting out that that needs to be addressed. I think there's definitely something with addiction there. I personally would use alcohol as a way to feel or a way to deal with my transition out of the military, especially like it was bad enough when I was in, but when I got out, that's when it hit really hard, and I was hitting that bottle really hard too. So, I think that there's something to say there that there's
I
a
think that's something they don't take into consideration. Like, they don't know. I mean, maybe some of them, did serve, but I mean, I'm right there with you. Like when I was in, I was out. I mean, I would consider myself a blue bond alcoholic. I didn't think of it at the time, but even when I got out, it took me a while to be able to like, okay, you need to slow the fuck down because this is not good for you. So
Mhm.
it's like it is like afterwards, during, after, and even it was already bad growing up because I started drinking at a very young age. So and there's like it's in my genetics. It is because my dad's an alcoholic. He got deported because of all his DUIs and drug usage and not want to go to the meetings and the fees and stuff like that. You know
Right,
what I mean? So he chose his vices versus his family more or less. So they took away his green card. So
right.
it's like deeply in my genetics because in my mom's side, all of my uncles are more or less alcoholics as well. I love them, they're great, and some of them grew out of it, but for the most part, and then
Right.
you have your cousins and everybody drinks and da 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 in the family. And then it just progresses there once you're in the military because one, you're away from your family, and two, it's just the thing to do to cope with everything, the stress. And obviously we're not really taught how to cope with our emotions being away from the family and how to cope with all of that and how to process all that. So we use alcohol to help with that processing. And then when you get out, that's the only way you know how to process any of it. And then your friends and all of the people that most of the time are still in the military, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? So it's like it's not something that is addressed. I think they address tobacco a lot more than they do alcohol.
Wow. That's fucking so true. That is so fucking true. I never even thought about that. They do shit. I mean, but alcohol it's like almost a cultural thing within the military.
Yeah.
Like I know that the sailors, you guys are known for just being some
Yeah.
rowdy ass drunks.
I mean, hell, you go underway, and again, we've talked about some people may or may not have snuck alcohol into the ship.
Hmm.
I know I would never do that just because I did not want to get busted. But once you hit a port, that was your way of,
Like,
blowing off steam
yeah.
because you were working all the time, stuck on the ship with all these same people over and over and their drama and all that stuff. So that was the only way for you to go cope, decompress, and we would drink bars dry in some little ports, you know what I mean?
Right.
Different.
For real.
And like it's crazy. They tell you, oh, you can only have this many drinks, like in Korea or something like that.
Hmm.
But they're not gonna always be there. You fucking drink as much as you want. So it's
And
crazy. Like it's just part of the culture, and I don't think they address it as much as afterwards when you're, out at all.
I got a question regarding like when you guys go out and drink and shit like that. Um, how do y'all pay? Like, I mean, like,
Like in
do,
other countries.
yeah, like, and for like,
Oh yeah, so
do
you
you guys
just
get
get money out
cash?
of the ATM. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, just get money out of the ATM. Like
On the boat
there's
or
some
in their
boats that have
country?
ATMs. Yeah, there are some boats that have ATMs on them, and then you just go to one of the exchanges, or they actually have people come on to the pier or on your ship, depending on how big your ship is, and you could do exchanges there, or you just go out in town if you could find a safe bank, and
Right.
and get cash out in one of their ATMs. You just got to know the exchange rate, and you always have like little briefings once you're about to pull into a port to know the yays and nays of that
Oh,
country,
okay.
and they'll give us like the exchange rates and rules and stuff like that. So
Uh,
yeah,
yeah,
they get
that
us
was just
prepared before we go out.
okay. That
My
makes
favorite is
sense.
still Thailand. I mean, I'm sure now, knowing what I know, half of those poor people are, like human trafficked and stuff like that. But
Right.
that was the best exchange rate because like 60 or 50 something of their dollars was one of our American dollars. So,
And you could still buy though. Like, I mean, that was the did it mimic or did it also like how much was a beer per se for
I
how much?
mean, every to us there everything was cheap because like I said, 60 something of their dollars was one of our dollars. So like it could be, I don't know, a beer could be 10 of their whatever money it is, and
Right.
it's less than $1 for us.
Bucket
I
sold.
don't I don't know what the exchange rate is now, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was. And you could always pay with card if you wanted to. And there's been a lot, but you just get the money out,
You
get the
know,
cash.
that brings me to another topic that was sent to us via Instagram. Because I had asked, like, can I need some shit to talk about, y'all. So and that hits on something like, like we have soldiers out there, sailors, airmen, Marines that are living on, I guess, substandard pay to the point where they can be on welfare.
Yeah, I have heard like I know I had some single mom friends that would get like WIC and stuff like that because they were single moms. They were like an E3 or E4,
Mm-hmm.
obviously not making enough, and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, that's horrible, but at least they're able to do that. I mean, it would
Yeah.
be horrible if they said, "Oh no, you're in the military, therefore you can't get this assistance." You know what I
Right.
mean? I think that
Well,
would be even worse.
because I know, as a staff sergeant, okay, as an E6, um, I I qualified for WIC and I went and got WIC. You know what I mean? Because it definitely significantly helped. With I had two kids at the time. I think we were on a third, maybe. No, we had two kids. We had two only. I think we only had two kids at the time. Yeah, but still, it definitely helped. And then my old lady, she wanted to get a job, to help out. So she went to go get a job. But here's the issue. Her job was only paying for the daycare. And we're talking about daycare on post,
Mhm.
so it's like counterproductive because while she's trying to bring in money, all she's doing is bringing in money to take care of the kids. So there's no money
Yeah,
coming in. So,
yeah.
I was listening to something earlier today, and it had to do with people and dual incomes and whatnot. And one thing I didn't hear was it had to do with women and working in a working place, right? But and I think it had to do with like children and raising children, something along those. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know that I what came to my head was like, rather than asking you know why women are in the workforce or whatnot, why aren't we asking why it needs a dual income in order to survive now? Versus, like, let's say
Oh,
60 years ago, 50 years ago, you know, you could survive on one income, on one person working. And now,
inflation like a mofo. And
bro,
thank you, whoever's at the White House right now. I'm not even gonna say his name
fuck
because he
Joe
doesn't deserve
Biden.
it.
Oh,
But you're right. Like
mhm,
it's ridiculous. Like you can't afford to live off a single income anymore. Like not even
mm-mm,
if you don't have any kids, you can't
mm-mm,
do it. Like I know before, back in the day, people would get married to have more money and get that BAH and yada yada
mhm,
yada, working that system a little bit, but that's what they had to do to be able to, survive and get
right.
ahead. And that's all right. But like whether you're in the military or in the civilian world now, it's like military, you still have a little bit of a more of advantage, a little bit, I think. Um, sometimes I don't know, it's just horrible all around. It's affecting everyone, whether you have dual incomes or not. And then you do have to think about, if your spouse wants to work, you have to weigh that shit out as far as, like I've never had my family around to help with like daycare and stuff like that. So my son always had to go to daycare because I always wanted to work. And luckily, by the time I did have him, I was making enough money to where it didn't cancel my entire payout. And obviously, my husband Travis, he has always been able to, he's the numbers guy. So we would always have to figure out, is me working going to be worth paying, for the daycare? Because if it's
Mhm.
not, then there's no reason for it.
Exactly. Now, full
There's,
disclosure, I was fucking with my audio right now because I couldn't hear.
uh-huh.
So I had to disconnect it. And I just got back to where you said working, this little part where I joined in. So
Oh,
I just
it was
hope,
good. When you go back and re-listen to it, it was great.
okay, I just hopefully it recorded. That's all I'm hoping that it recorded.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, dude, I mean, it's pretty shameful that, now I'm not saying that soldiers should be getting paid an exuberant amount of money. Okay. But they should be making enough to at least live above the poverty line. I think also, though, I mean, not to play devil's advocate here, but are they getting themselves into debt? Like I think that this was a discussion I was having with Hunt was there should be like maybe during the training, after basic training, maybe, have like a financial literacy class or a financial literacy course. Because
I know when you, I know when I first joined the Navy, I don't know if they still do that now, because they have you, choose a bank or whatever if you don't already have one. And they
Mhm.
do go over stuff like that. And they do offer that services like that, like financial services on the Navy
Really?
bases and stuff like that. And when you get out, it's actually a requirement for some people to go to, I guess, a Navy accountant or whatever you want to call them. And they'll go over your financials to make sure that you're okay or you understand, like, oh, this is how, money works, blah, blah, blah. Now, some people, are, if you're retiring, you're like, this is stupid. I have my financials in order. But obviously, for those young sailors, hopefully they do take advantage of it because you're right. You can definitely go into debt. And especially like me, I've had, horrible credit when I first got out because I would help my family. They would use my credit. I would get apartments under my name for my family to live in. And, sometimes they would screw me over and not on purpose, but it did screw my credit up because I was trying to help my family. And it took a while to come out of that. But I was like, I didn't understand that. So I had to like put those boundaries there because I'm like, I need to better myself financially to be able to help later on. And it was hard because sometimes, Mexicans, families, everything, and we want to help our family no matter what. And having those boundaries hurts and it hurts them. They think we don't love them because we're putting those boundaries there. But that's something that it gets lost depending on your culture sometimes, because I know there's
Right.
other cultures like that too that are supposed to help their family no matter what. But then how does that going to leave you? And having those financial classes when you're coming out of the military and stuff like that does help.
Right.
And I know sometimes some people don't fucking need it because they're fine, but there's some other people, younger ones, they're getting out after 4 years or 5 years. They
Exactly.
might need it, you
And
know?
that's the biggest thing. Like, I mean, think about it. If let's say somebody goes in at 17 or 18, they come out at 21, 22. Are you really grown at that age? Looking at hindsight, being 2020, fuck no. I barely knew how to write my ass correctly at that age.
Right? Like I
So
didn't start having a savings account until I was like 26, I think. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that was hard.
yeah, for real, dude. And it trips me out, like, and that leads me to, like these soldiers, these service members that are getting paid so fucked up. I wouldn't want to say so fucked up because they do got a lot of benefits in there.
They do.
I mean,
Yeah.
you
Like
have your housing paid
medical,
for, medical.
dental.
Hmm.
Yeah. Because that stuff coming out into the civilian world, whoo, that shit's expensive as hell.
If you ain't retired, you're gonna be paying out the
Thank goodness.
ass.
And then imagine if you didn't have your like, and you're right, you get some benefits and it does help alleviate a lot, especially when it comes to daycare. It does get a discounted rate depending on your rate or whatever.
Hmm.
So it does kind of help, but you do still get a lot of benefits. But sometimes, depending on what you're doing with the money, is it enough?
Right. Hmm. It does depend what you do with that money, though. It's all about again, I go to financial literacy because there's motherfuckers that are in their 30s and they're living above their means. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think that that's something I was guilty of. You know, um, however, when you get out the military, and this is I'm just going to speak on my behalf. I didn't have a savings account. I didn't, and if I did, it was just the oh shit money in case I overdraw that I got to take that and put it in there. It's not like I ever had a savings account savings. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And like I wish I would have taken advantage of the TSP that they had back then, the thrift savings plan. I never took advantage of that.
Oh yeah, mine's sitting somewhere. It's better for me not to know too much
For
about it.
real. But dude, and then they're talking
It's
about
sitting somewhere.
but yeah, now they're talking about, like, they changed the retirement thing. They're giving you 401ks now. I'm sorry. That's
Oh.
something I wouldn't be able to do because I want my percentage for the rest of my life versus the 401k. I'm okay with that. 401ks, they go up and down with the market. Now with this guy, I mean, maybe there's others that can explain the benefit to it, but I can't. But I mean, has it gotten so bad to the point now where motherfuckers are honestly, doing OnlyFans, you know?
Yeah. And that's I guess you could call it the good and the bad part of it. Yes, it sucks that the living wages are not enough anymore. Inflation just keeps going up and up and up. But in the same token, we are in that age where there's so many non-conventional ways to make extra income. Like I have my shop. I never thought I'd be a small business owner, and I have a shop, and there's many other ways that you can start making extra income that are non-conventional, not completely
Mhm.
full-time jobs. If you don't have a career, or even if you do, you can still do on the side that do provide a little bit of extra income if you need it. Like OnlyFans, ain't no shame. Hell, get your money however you gotta
So
get it.
that was actually a question that was brought up on the Instagram. Like, how do you feel about OnlyFans and active duty service members? And that one's, a little bit I guess
It's
it's
a little touchy for me. Like I say, do what you gotta do, just not in uniform, not
see,
in an
and that's where
official
I'm at.
uniform. That's the respect part of it. You know what I mean? Like, do what you got to do, but you don't have to do it in uniform.
And that's where I'm at. And to that point, it's up behind a paywall. So somebody needs to pay money in order to see you. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like, so it's behind a paywall. So the only thing that I can see is like, I mean, look, we had an incident when I was in Mosul where a certain officer left her thumb drive out in the open and somebody grabbed it accidentally, supposedly. And she happened to be doing things on there for her husband who was back home. You know what I mean? And that thing spread like wildfire.
Oh, that's
And it
horrible.
it I'm not gonna lie, I had a copy of it too. Um she was
That's
fucking fine as
horrible.
fuck. She was fine. Oh my god, was she fine? She was beautiful. She really was. But I mean, again, but that was supposed to be something between her and her husband. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I deleted it afterwards, obviously, because I already had busted my nut. But I mean, either way,
And see, that was supposed to be something private that went public. Now the
right.
people, so it didn't purposely become public. The people that do
Exactly.
it purposely, I'm like,
So the
show
thing I'm
some
saying though, if
respect.
something like that was to go out, right? And now with somebody, if they have like a OnlyFans, how quick is that going to spread like wildfire throughout the fucking battery, through the battalion, through the division? And that's what's
Yeah.
going to do is going to detract, I think, from good order and discipline. And that's why it's kind of like, ugh. I mean, if you're gonna have one. Keep that shit super duper low, and but just we used to have a phrase, it was like do what your collar can handle. And based on
Ah,
like your rank on your,
yeah.
so do what your
Yeah.
collar can handle, do what your chest can handle. You know, now we live in a day that in an era where if you say a mean tweet, they can take you off of fucking social media.
Dude, like people are pulling out shit from like 10 years ago talking about this and that. And I'm like, that, like, I don't know. I don't. I think people say stupid shit when they're young. And if they don't learn their lesson, fine, bring it up. But if
Mm-hmm.
it's something from like years ago and you are not that person anymore, you know what I mean? Because people can change. I
They
mean,
do. Yeah.
they do, they really do. And I'm just like that, there's no need for that now. If they keep doing it and they're still stupid, then I'm like, hey, well, you haven't changed, so bring
Yeah.
it up.
I mean, look, there's a fetish for everything out there. I thought about doing an OnlyFans, and I'm being real. Gay guys love me. All right. Well, they did at one time. They did at one time. They would buy me fucking drinks, dude. And ain't no shame. I'll be over there
No,
with my old lady, and they would be like, "Hey, man, can I buy you a drink?" I'm like, "You can buy my for my wife too." I'm like, yeah. All right, cool then. Shit.
nice,
You know,
nice.
Now I don't know if homie thought he was gonna try to get some, get a little three-way action going. Never happened. But I mean,
No, but it's nice
and
to get a free drink. That's
fuck
nice.
yeah. It's very flattering though. To get hit on by a gay dude. Like, I mean, to get dude,
Be hit on by a
it
gay dude.
yeah.
So the other day, I'm not even gonna lie, like me and my husband were walking out of like Target or something dumb like that, in some random store,
Mhm.
and then some gay guy literally gave me the evil eye for being with my husband. Like, oh, you think you're gonna take my husband? Try, please.
Oh
I
my
wish you would try. We will
right.
fight. I'm not scared of you. But I'm like, he's like, well, I
I
was
mean,
like, well, at least you know you still got it.
I trip out on it, like, wait, this is what men complain about? Getting hit on all the time? Oh man, this is so bad. Getting
I don't know who
attention.
complained about that.
Oh my god, I feel so assaulted. Please tell me more how much I look good and you love my brown chocolate skin. Tell me how my beautiful eyes are like, dude.
Nowadays, like I said, non-conventional ways, like
Mhm.
you could do that OnlyFans for that type of audience. There's an audience for everything, but
Bro.
now they're doing, have you seen that TikTok where they're doing metaverse stuff? So it's not even you, it's an avatar that you create. And there's supposedly like stripper avatars in the metaverse and stuff like that, and that actually get paid. Obviously, they'll pay you with the currency of that metaverse,
Right.
but you can cash it out just like any kind of cryptocurrency into actual cash.
Holy shit.
So I'm like, you know what? I might be a spicy dancer on the metaverse. I might be a tattoo artist in the metaverse. It's gonna be another, like I could be a tattoo artist like I've always wanted to in real life, but in the
There you go.
metaverse.
Oh, wait a minute. You draw? Do you draw?
No, I'm horrible
Oh.
at drawing, but I've always wanted to do tattoos. I could practice.
Hey, if you identify as a tattoo artist, you're a tattoo artist, all
That's
right?
right. I got an
Oh my.
imagination, creativity for it, but it'll take me a couple of practices.
A couple of years to fucking get it down right?
Yeah, that's another avenue now too, though. Like you don't even have to show your own face. It's an avatar.
Nah, that's too much for me. Like I mean,
Like, have you
look,
seen on Ready Player One?
who?
Ready Player One? No, so you should look that movie up. It's kind of like that, more or less. Not obviously not that intense, but
Right.
it's, yeah. People have
Well,
regular jobs in the metaverse, like they do regular life.
dude, no, there's a movie with Bruce Willis that had that where they like lived in pods inside their apartments and they had like fucking clones or whatnot go and work for them and do all the work.
Oh, I have seen that movie. I don't
I
remember the name of
can't,
it though, but I have
yeah,
seen
I
that
can't
movie.
remember it either, but it's amazing that
Yeah,
that's where we're getting to already.
isn't that
Holy
crazy?
shit. We only got 2 minutes left, yo.
Oh, oops.
No,
But I mean,
I'm
there's
glad.
there's so many ways for you to start, even though yes, it's harder with regular jobs, but that's why so many people do have those side hustles nowadays. I mean, some do make money, some don't, some just do it for fun, like me and you. But there's other non-conventional ways to be able to make money, like
Right.
Uber, delivery, door dashing, you know what I mean? Like
Selling
anything.
your pictures of your toes, feet
Toes,
pics.
pictures, that's all right. Like I said, nobody's
Hey,
touching you. You're just sending pictures.
you know what? Honestly, I don't hate. I really don't hate.
I don't either.
If that's what they want to do, that's what you're gonna do. I am no one to judge you. You do what you
Because
do.
you're just trying to provide.
But if
A
you're in
lot
the
of people are just trying
military,
to provide for your family. You know what I mean?
but if you're in the military and you're doing it, do what your collar can handle. And just know that when you're in that uniform, you're held to a higher standard. You know what I
I
mean?
think, yeah, for me, it's the uniform. Like, show some respect for all the people that died for that uniform, that are still out there fighting for that uniform and there's freedoms for people to talk shit everywhere. You know
For
what
dumbasses like us to get on here and talk shit. You know what I mean?
I mean? It's just
Monica,
the respect factor.
exactly. I want to thank you for having for being on here with me today, Monica. I'm less than a minute
Of
out, about to
course.
turn off. I think we had a pretty good
Okay.
episode today.
I
Um,
think so.
and it didn't feel rushed, and I loved it, and I can't wait to have you on again.
Of course, I'm around.
Especially we didn't talk about the hot D. We got to have a hunt on here
Oh,
for that.
yes.
So with
Yes. Oh, it is getting good. This last episode, I was like,
it's
what?
gonna cut out on me now,
What?
just so
Okay.
you know. All right, thank you for being here, Monica. I'll
Thank
talk to you
you for
later.
having me again.
No problem.
Bye.
Rounds complete. End of mission. Gun line out. March order, motherfuckers.